And again, it's a belief of mine that we've lost that spirit in our community.
Yeah. We did mention this in the origin story,
Yeah.
which is one of our very first steps.
Which was, we never condone violence.
Yeah.
We always say that violence is one of the last resorts.
Yeah.
But we also don't condone turning you the cheek.
Yeah.
So when your personal space is invaded and you need to strike or you need to do something, we do push the children to not be the person who gets bullied physically and then tries whimpering away. Welcome back to the Flowing State of BJJ, where we talk about all things jiu-jitsu. Today we've got a very serious topic. The topic is bullying. Bullying can happen in all sorts of domains, whether it's mentally, physically, online, in school, on your street, all over the place. And it's a topic which is very dear to Gamefight and our club. So we're going to talk about it. Tubbsy, what's your view?
Yeah, so bullying's had been on my mind to kind of cover on the podcast. Obviously, you have a big kids class, and it can, sometimes you want to help kids, and we see it, kids talk to you, kids might talk to myself at times about, what happened at school and so on. So it's something that I feel we can cover, we can give an insight to how Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu can help bullying. There's lots of tools out there to help, there's lots of support. But obviously, as we're predominantly in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu kind of theme here with our podcast, it'll be something interesting to cover. I think you made a great point. It comes in many forms. There's physical, there's mental. It can happen in school. It can happen at home. It can happen in the street. All sorts of scenarios and settings. So I think it's this podcast will give you guys an insight on how Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu can help and some first-hand experiences from Coach Barber himself. So to dive straight into it, have you had any kind of first-hand experiences with parents saying to you, "Oh, my kid, I'm going to get my kid into jiu-jitsu because of bullying"? How have you handled that situation?
So yeah, there's been a few. One of them particularly comes to mind where a girl, she came to the gym, she was getting bullied. So we talked her through how some scenarios, some tactics of how to try avoiding it. Obviously, we showed her some jiu-jitsu, and then about a year into her journey, the mother messages me saying that, the bullying got physical.
Okay.
And that the girl took the bully down, mounted her, and just waited for the teacher, which was, we never condone violence.
Yeah.
We always say that violence is one of the last resorts, but we also don't condone turning you the cheek.
Yeah.
So when your personal space is invaded and you need to strike or you need to do something, we do push the children to not be the person who gets bullied physically and then tries whimpering away. That's not the people we're building. We're trying to build strong individuals here. So in the situation, relevant to that, regarding that situation, it was a fantastic outcome, because it could have been much worse. Because one thing bullies do is, when there's a sign of weakness, whimpering away, they get more emboldened, and they go further and further. So if that young girl had whimpered away, and after she got hit, more strikes more likely would have followed. The way she dealt with it was, there wasn't much injury involved. Both of them, the bully and the person getting bullied, came away with very minor injuries. So that was a success story in terms of bullying.
That's fantastic. And just to make it clear, anyone affiliated with Gamefight, whether it's coaches, parents, students, kids, we don't condone a first strike method in an aggressive manner. Obviously, we do talk about, if it's a defensive situation, if we're being with kids or anyone's being feel uncomfortable in a certain manner. So I just want to make that clear to you.
Yeah, so just to pick up on that, like what we never want to do, and something which is popular and which is popularized by the no violence movement, is that when my space is being invaded and when I'm gonna get punched, I have to wait to get punched first before I can strike back. I don't condone that. If there's a chance of me getting hit, and I do get hit, I might not have the chance to strike back. So in that particular case, yes, hit a double leg, hit a single leg, take this person down, nullify the threat. I'm not big on striking, but if you need to strike in that situation, slap
But
them
I
up.
think it's a great point because you mentioned first strike, but this is why Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is so different from other martial arts. For example, if you go to a boxing, I'm not saying these martial arts are not effective at handling certain situations. I'm sure the coaches at these gyms as well, condone a communication method to address certain bullies. But if you're going to start throwing hands, throwing kicks, the difference between Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, as we know, there isn't any strikes involved. It's all more restraints, pins, and very much by nature, it's very much safe as well for the actual bully as well. So, as Coach Barber mentioned, for me, the difference would be if someone's come to your personal space, the first thing in your head's not going to be a punch. It's probably going to be something like judo throw or a double leg or a single leg, take them to the floor and then maybe mount them and control them. You're not going to start grounding and pounding. You're going to kind of restrain them and keep your safe, your confidence. So that's my particular thoughts. But I'd like to hear from yourself, Coach. Why do you think Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is different to other martial arts in helping the bullied?
So there's two things. So everything you said there is absolutely spot on. When we are dealing with these bullies, remember so we got to go back and we will talk about this, what makes bullies and why bullies are bullies, and we will mention that. But the likelihood of both people coming out of this situation in a safe manner. One thing we talk about in our class is what are the real consequences. And you would have heard hear me talk about what's the real consequence of a choke. What's the real consequence of an
Yeah,
armbar?
you got that comment, which is, I think, very good.
Yeah, because kids and the environment we're in, where they see it in movies and they see it in other things, they popularize these moves. Right? Rear naked choke is quite a spectacular move.
Yeah,
But
guillotine.
but the consequences of these moves are very real. So we gotta make sure that when we're teaching these moves, that these children that are doing these moves understand the consequence. So we talk about that a lot. The other thing that Brazilian Jiu Jitsu has, which not many other martial arts don't have, is the ability to fight off your back. The guard. The guard is very unique to Jiu Jitsu, and though it's not the best place to be, sometimes I don't get to choose. So we've talked about a lot where we do that preemptive action. Right? So I'll go first. If someone's in my space, I know I'm backed up against a wall. There's nothing else I can do. The person's raging, coming towards me. Don't wait to get smacked. Do the preemptive strike. But sometimes you get sucker punched. You end up on the floor. There's a tussle. You end up on the floor. Your back's to the floor. What do we do now? Jiu-Jitsu is a very unique art that it has a very sophisticated, very in-depth, detailed system for positions where your back is on the mat.
I think that's such a good point because I'm just thinking about it, and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, to me, I'm thinking, and this doesn't mean Eastern martial arts because they don't work also don't, do any kind of Eastern martial arts, and check our podcast out on why Eastern martial arts are dead as well. So this doesn't include Eastern martial arts, but just thinking about it right now, from all these martial arts that we mentioned, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu has a natural inherent ability to neutralize threats without escalating violence. And you just mentioned the closed guard, for example. You've got a sucker punch in the face, you fall on your back. Now, the guy or the girl is going to come on top of you and start ground and pound, but you're going to neutralize that threat by closing the guard, by controlling the wrist, controlling the posture, and so on. And these are the things that beginners do learn. But you're not escalating the violence. You're not actually damaging that particular individual.
You could.
You could if you wanted to. Yeah,
You could, and the likelihood is if the other person doesn't do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they wouldn't know what's happening to them. But quite often in them sort of situations where we can get a reversal, end up in top, end up in mount, the situation is dead. The helplessness of somebody underneath the mount. I say this to the kids in my gym who compete a lot. Right? When people are escaping mount and they're not informed, what they'll do is they'll bridge really hard, but you've got 3 or 4 big bridges in you, and then your gas tanks, empty, especially in a comp situation where adrenaline is running. Comp and in these physical situations we're talking about here, in terms of the adrenaline and the gas tank, are very similar. Because your heart rate is elevated, you get that adrenaline dump, the flight or fight,
trauma, yeah.
all these things are very similar. It's why I really push people to compete, especially kids. I push them to compete so they get these. This is why we do in-house comps as well. So these nerves, these butterflies, we're able to replicate them the best we can. We can't obviously, we're not going to go around and set up bullying scenarios, but this is the best we can get to get kids used to these feelings so then they can handle them.
Yeah, I think it's very unique to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu where you can, as the coach explained and myself, where you can de-escalate matters without getting too violent, because the last thing you want is things getting way out of control where someone's defending themselves to start attacking. It can just escalate into, we don't want anyone in the hospital or whatever. I feel like, so moving on now to a scenario where a child has come, they've joined a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym. I feel like I've seen it with a lot of kids, and not saying that a lot of the kids at our gym have been bullied, but even when they're not bullied and they might not be confident, I've seen a psychological shift, and that's just in their body language, in the way they speak. They already haven't opened up. In your opinion, how does BJJ gives victims of bullying a sense of power and inner calm?
So one of the things that we're able to do in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is allow the person to know what they're doing works. And that's with the active free rolls at the end. So if you know that you can take someone down and pin someone when the other person opposite you knows some jiu-jitsu, like they know what they're doing, but I can still take them down. I can still pin them past their guard and mount them. Right? If I'm able to do that, it instills a level of confidence in me when the person opposite me doesn't know that stuff. I can definitely do this stuff.
It gives you a sense of calmness because you know you are in control of the situation, or if any given situation, and worst case scenario is that the fight breaks out or something, or you get bullied, you're in control of the situation. So I agree. You mentioned something where you, and we've mentioned this a lot, is positional rolling in your beginners program and the kids as well. The role of controlled sparring. How do you think that reduces fear and anxiety in an individual, whether it be a child or an adult, and how can that help in bullying?
So it removes, let's do the bullying bit first. It helps in bullying because if you ever get to that situation, you've just done so many, what I call good reps. And what I mean by good reps is when you rep it in the technique portion, right, you're doing cooperate, like the person's cooperating with you. But in positional rolling, these are the reps. These are the good reps that count because the person isn't cooperating anymore. Right? He's trying to stop you. They're trying to stop you. So these are the good reps. These are the reps that go in the bank and build confidence. Because if I can get past your half guard, name anything, add any technique in there, and you're trying to stop me, right? And I still win. I'm just like, that's a plus point. That's a plus point in my confidence level. So that's how that side helps from the bullying side of stuff. How it removes anxiety and stuff like that. And we mentioned this when we were talking about positional rolling in our last episode. It helps reduce the variables. Right? So I know that something ridiculous isn't going to happen here. So injury is going to go down. And when injury risk goes down, anxiety goes down. I can control this in a real, you can control the environment, what's going to happen, the expectation. There's a lot more knowns, and it's the unknowns that create anxiety when I don't know what's going to happen. But as soon as we start describing these are all the things that can happen, we're like, oh, okay, I know what's going to happen. I know the scenarios here. I can deal with this.
Yeah, I think in both aspects, because some people might be thinking, well, we're talking a lot about the physical aspect here of bullying, where someone might hate or something, and naturally an individual trained within jiu-jitsu would think, oh, I can handle myself, I can take them down, I can mount them and pin them. However, obviously, as we said at the beginning, there's a mental aspect to this bullying as well. How do you think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu can help someone who's being bullied mentally?
So mentally, when you're on the mat, sometimes it can be a very tough place to be. Yeah. You mentioned it before, you're stuck underneath side control. This person's a little bit heavy, they know how to put their weight, they're crushing your face. But at the end of it, it's over. But let's say that you're able to get out. Right?
You're alive.
You're alive. You're able to get your knee back in. You're able to turn. You're able to survive that situation. Right? Mentally, that adds a little bit of toughness. We see kids sometimes, or we see kids a lot as they progress. When they come in first time in the mats, right? They'll be in the corner and they'll be like whimpering or something, and you say, "Oh, what's up?" Like, "I hurt my little finger," and then as they go on, as they develop, right? Like their fingers facing backwards, but they're still fighting on, and you're just like, "What are you doing?" You're like, "Let's just fix this." But like we see them build as fighters, right? And that spirit of grit
100%. I
comes
think
out
that's
of
what
them.
I'm looking for. You mentioned it, the spirit.
Yeah.
By naturally by fighting or rolling positional or free, you're going to get that confidence, and I think that goes hand in hand of building mental resilience. And it's the spirit, it gives you that. And again, we're not promoting that kids go out and start bashing everyone up, but we do have to be realistic. Bullying is very real in schools. We may not even hear about our kids. So I think you're right. It gives them that spirit of, you know what, I'm all right. I can handle myself. What can he or she do to me? So I think by nature, by default, building physical attributes to handle yourself goes hand in hand with building mental attributes.
Mental fortitude.
Exactly, mental fortitude. You can only get that from a black belt. You have to mention that. That was just textbook. Okay, so we're spending a lot of time talking about individuals who are getting bullied, and this doesn't just stick to kids, it's not an adult, but what about the actual bully themselves?
Yeah.
And without mentioning name, I think I've seen a few bullies enter our gym, and they've turned around. How can Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu help bullies?
So one thing is belonging. So a bully wants to belong. And when they see that when I inflict this mental torture, this mental bullying, and then I can physically impose myself on someone, and then all these people say, "Oh, wow, look at him," and they start gathering around him or her. It's a way of belonging and validating oneself. Yeah. So that's what one way that bullies get it. Also at home, if they're seeing a lot of violence, that's their way of going, "Oh, so this is the way people interact," and then they start doing a lot of it. So it's usually a troubled soul that does the violence and does the bullying. How does the jiu-jitsu help them? And we've talked about this a lot as well. Community, someone who cares. Like a lot of the times, I've talked to coaches and they're like, "Oh, so and so is bullying so and so," right? And I've gone out of my way to make a connection with that kid, because now there's somebody who expects something of them. I expect something of them, right? And I say it to a lot: if I hear you're bullying, you're gonna have to come back and deal with me. Now there's an authority figure there, right? And people say that kids shouldn't have to answer. Yes, my belief is a kid should have to answer to somebody, and if I'm that person they have to answer to, so be it.
It instills a bit of discipline into them, doesn't it? And without going into too much detail in regards to why bullying starts, but I think you hit the nail on the head. It's generally from a kid going through trauma. They're not born to be bullies. They've had some kind of issues, whether it's outside of school, at home, or whatever the reason is. They're generally going through some kind of trauma, and it's the way how they can only express themselves. And I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like you said, it gives them a belonging, community, family, gives them that authoritative figure, someone to look up to. They enjoy Jiu-Jitsu. You're the black belt. I'm going to listen to him because I want to be like him, and so on and so forth. It really does, you can say, humble them and redirect their energy. And I think it's a powerful tool, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for bullies too. They're human at the end of the day. So let's cover bullies and the individuals getting bullied. What kind of character development have you seen through jiu-jitsu? So from that little timid child who's come in, and how have you seen them developing within themselves and within their character?
It's odd to say, but you see their smile. Right? So a kid will come in, they'll be timid, you'll start talking to them, they won't really want to talk. And next thing you know, you'll be walking down the mat and they'll be jumping on your back. That's a real sign to me that we've made that connection. As coaches, something's worked. Because now when there's a problem, if I go up to that kid and say, oh, how's school? The likelihood is that he's going to talk to me is a lot higher. And now what will happen is you'll walk around and you play a little game where I'll ruffle their hair and the big smile come up on their face. It's things like that. So one of the indicators that we know we're getting there with a child who's timid, who's not that, he's an introvert like myself, is that you start seeing them smile. And that for me it's a beautiful thing where that kid starts opening up.
That's fantastic, and I agree with it. I see it while I'm sat down, and it really is a nice sight to see. What kind of character development have you seen in bullies? So if there's a child, we're not calling every child a bully, but there might be, you might have met a couple, and how have you seen their character develop with bullies in jiu-jitsu?
So one thing I say to parents a lot is when they ask me early on is, how is my child doing? And you see this in bullies, you see this in all children, but we're highlighting bullies here, right? Is when a child comes into a new environment, especially the younger children, is they will test the boundaries. Okay? So they'll speak when they're not supposed to speak. I'll say go to the wall, right, and they'll stand up and look at me where they're supposed. They know they're supposed to be sitting down. They know that because I've told them, right? I'll say go left, and they'll deliberately go right to see what are the consequences. Right? Now, all my coaching staff have been told if a behavior like that happens, check it. Okay? So when he goes right, a coach will stand in front of him and say, "Where are you going? I told you to go there." Right? And now this purple belt, black belt is standing in front of them, fully grown man, right, with an angry look on their face, right, like that wasn't the right thing to do. Don't do that again. Right? So when they stand up, we'll say sit down. Right? And when they get checked and they know there's authority and they know there's consequences to these actions, right, what you'll start seeing is now they know that they can't bully that coach. So now they start playing games, right? So either they'll get testing the waters. They'll try getting super friendly. And the coaches know that this is their way to try manipulating. And we'll check that as well. Because we've been in the game a long time. Right? I've been teaching for 15 years, kids. Right? So I know their games. Early on, they might have been able to manipulate me. Now, I'm just like, I've been teaching for longer than you've been alive. What game are you trying to play now?
You've seen it all.
Yeah, we've seen it. I'm waiting for a new kid to come and show me something new. Right? So when we check all these games they play, the relationship gets real. Right? And now there's a real respect there. Right? And we feel like that we've earned that respect. Because we haven't demanded it. You will respect me. No, we've earned it. We've shown them that what they're doing can't be done. Right? There are rules and they will enforce it. Now, there is a caveat here. And the caveat is this. The parents must be on our side. Because what's going to happen is when they get checked, they're going to go home and they're going to complain to their parents. Right? I did this, and they're going to exaggerate the counter that happened. Right? And when they complain, it's up to the parent to listen with one ear and go out the other and then bring them back to jiu-jitsu the next session. Because where the rules are isn't where the bully wants to go. Right? If they keep bringing them, right, and they realize, oh, okay, I have to look up, I look up to this person now, right? There are rules and regulations here. I have to adhere them because I get checked when I don't. Right? It's not like where I'll get this detention and then I can go back to normal. No, when you upset coach is going to stay upset. And coach doesn't forget. So now they have to remember all these things. So as long as the parents don't quit on jiu-jitsu and they stick with it, you'll see the bully start understanding what their responsibilities are, how to play And he's a child at the end of the day, how to play with other children properly. They'll get that. We'll instill that in them.
Yeah. No, I've seen it first time as well. Obviously, we have a little play time, 5-10 minutes before the class starts, and everyone starts, all the kids start, and there's certain kind of individuals where you can tell they might be bigger and they might be in that kind of domain where they have a kind of advantage over certain kids, and I know this might sound in a stereotypical view, but they might be a bully because of the size, and they start integrating, and as you mentioned, so stick with jiu-jitsu if parents are concerned. In terms of from a parent's perspective, and I can see this as well myself, obviously with my kids training under yourself, Barbara. If you can imagine, parents are bringing their kids to jiu-jitsu because might have had a physical altercation or a mental altercation where they've been bullied, but they're coming to a gym where, in essence, we're fighting. We're teaching fighting, right? It's combat. By nature, you would think, the parent might think, well, the kids can get bullied here as well by, I don't know, whoever, right? So, what common kind of concerns have you seen from parents bringing their child who's been bullied into a kind of a combat arena?
One way, they wouldn't bring them if they're concerned, like what you're mentioning there. But we have seen bullying on these mats. Yeah. Right. So let's not sugarcoat it. Let's not say that this is a utopia where it doesn't happen. Yeah. Kids will be kids, and where they think they get away with it, they will. Yeah. And one of the reasons why we have CCTV up here is you can't sometimes trust kids. They'll say one thing to my face, and I'm like, shall I check the cameras? No, don't check the cameras. I'm like, why should I not check the cameras? Because the only reason why you don't want me to check cameras is you're not telling me the truth. Tell me the truth. So that's one of the reasons we have these cameras. And quite often, we'll talk to the child, and I'll say, okay, I'm going to come back next week. We're going to talk about this. I'll check the cameras, and what they've said is absolutely false. Right? They've made it all up, all cuckoo land. Right? And then we've come back the following week, and we've addressed it. So bullying does happen, but we're in an environment where the children know it's not tolerated. And the consequence is, so we have a number of consequences, but the consequences are real. We make sure that it matters to the child. Right? So if the child doesn't want to come to jiu-jitsu, right, and we say, your consequences go home, that's not a consequence for the child. They're like, yeah, thanks, Dad, let's go now. Yeah. So we make sure that the consequences we apply are for that child. It's why we don't give the suit straight away. Many clubs, you have to buy the suit on the first session. We have to wait.
So the kid has to earn it, right?
Kid has to earn it.
I know I've heard you saying this as well, and I think it might have been said to my kids so long ago, I can't remember. After 10 sessions, they can buy a gi, but the first day the kid comes, they see all the kids wearing gis and the cool rash guards that you offer at your club, and they want, Mama, Papa, I want that, and the mum and dad can't say no, they're ready to spend some money. But I've seen you firsthand decline, and I'm thinking, why is this guy declining it? But then I realised it's because of what you're saying.
It's bigger than that, or how much ever that costs, right? And the parents sometimes look at me like, are you mad? Like, I'm ready to swipe. Where do you want me to tap this? I'm just like, no, I don't want your money. What I want is for this child to earn it. Like, he's really well behaved. I'm like, I'm sure he is, but the rule's the rule, right? Wait 10 sessions. After 10 sessions, we'll see. There are kids, and you know this, right? There's kids on these mats that to this day, they've been here 3, 4, 5 months. They don't have a gi, and I won't give them one until they fix themselves. Now, fixing themselves might take some time. I've been here 15 years.
Yeah.
I'll be here until they fix themselves.
Yeah, of course. I think it's a great way, and I think I can't put enough weight on that, on your approach, because it really does create a sense of prestige about the gi, and it helps address certain aspects of behaviour if they're not behaving well, if they're bullying other kids, for example. And we will explore this on the next topic on this episode, bullying in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gyms. But if that's happening, it gives you a kind of a way to get one over them. I'm taking your gi off you, you can't wear your gi. And they're so unhappy about it, they might still come to the class, but they're the one who's not wearing the gi and they're looking around. So I think that's such a good approach.
And we've done that, right? We've done that with kids where we say, you're not allowed to wear your gi. And they'll come back next session with the gi on. And I'm like, nah. And I'll say, take that off.
Yeah, in front of parents as well.
In front of
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't wear our badge when you're behaving like that. Yeah. Because one thing that we value is our reputation as a gym. Yeah. And so for me, the gym as an entity is one thing. Yeah. But what it means to the kids is what the actual value. Yeah. And now my whole thing is you carry the name of game fight.
Yeah, of course.
So if your behavior, everything, not just here, outside as well. So if you're not gonna carry that, you can't wear our kit.
Like there's a lot of merch that is not just, it's kind of lifestyle as well, like hoodies and tops which people wear outside of the gym, not just the class. So they're natural for an individual to affiliate that particular individual's behavior with game fight graphic, or is this how they all are game fight? So it's only natural. I want this answer from yourself, not as a coach.
Okay.
Now, if a parent is looking for an academy or a club for their child, they might be bullied. How can they find the right academy to help them?
So this is really important, right? They have to do their research. They have to watch podcasts like we've watched. And I know we did it in a very joking, very jovial manner, right? We were laughing and joking about it, but the content was serious. Like we had a parent only the other week come in and say, I was about to take him to a traditional martial arts gym, and I was perplexed. I was like, oh, why? I've done a podcast on this, and they were like, I've watched the podcast, and I was like, then what's going on here? Like, why would you do it? And the reasons was that, it's a very structured start to the martial arts career. I'm in my mind, and I didn't say this to the gentleman, was like, yeah, but like there's no value to the confidence gained. Yeah. So do some research, look at it. There's a thing that I posted about this the other day, right? Where you go to someone and they're doing a martial art, and you say like, oh, how's your gym? And they're like, my gym's fantastic, it's the absolute best. Right? The next question should be, how many gyms have you been to? And if your answer is this is the only gym I've been to, then your opinion of that gym or overall martial arts has just dropped. Because this is your only experience. Even if it's your best experience, it's my only experience. Like, if you look at someone like myself, and there's plenty of other experienced martial artists out there, like I've been to many gyms and I've trained under many coaches. And if you ask me who's the best, right, I've got this array of coaches that I can now, this coach is good at this coach is good at this. What are you looking for? Are you looking for someone who's good at this? Perfect. This is what you need to do. Right? Whereas if you've only been to one, and I'm asking you your opinion, and let's say you go to, I'm gonna make you the example here, Tubzi. Let's say that you go to traditional martial arts, and I'm looking for a martial art, and I say to you, Tubzi, what do you think? I'm looking to get into martial arts. Your only opinion is gonna be, and for you that's the best. Your martial arts have never been tested, but for you it's the best. So now I'm gonna go, oh, Tubzi's a martial artist, I'm gonna go. And now we're all in the same boat, right? And now when it comes to being tested, we're all getting battered together. Right? So it's really important that when you take recommendations, take them from someone who's had an array, right? Someone who's been to Brazilian. And I'm not saying come to our gym because our gym's the best. Obviously, I'm gonna say that it's my gym, right? If you don't like our gym, go find another one. It's why we give you a free week. And I promise you, if you come and you give me a phone number for a free week, I'm not going to chase you after the free week. I won't ring you back and say, why you not coming, and then have this sales pitch where it's just not going to happen. If you decide not to come, that's on you. So be it. Try another gym. Try another style. Try one that fits you. There will be one that fits you. You just need to find it. Find the one that fits you. So that's my advice.
Yeah, and this is not a sales pitch. Like you mentioned, you have a week free trial. This is to figure out whether the club is a match for the kid and the parent, and whether the parent and the kid is a match for the club child. And it goes into a nice segue into mentioning the culture of gyms and how cultures of gyms can help parents be at ease with their kids training at certain gyms, and kind of goes hand in hand with the question I asked you earlier, how can they find the right academy? How does a jiu-jitsu club culture fit and help children who are being bullied?
So I would say there's a couple of things that we need to make sure that the gym does before we enroll our children. So one is they let you sit there and watch. Yeah. If a gym turns around and says, yes, cool, you have to leave, that flies red flag to me. When the kids are training, parents must leave. Right? That for me, there's a red flag there. Even if it's behind a wall and you have to look through a window, cool. But if the parents are allowed to stay, right, now at least the parents can see what's going on. Right? That's important for me. So that's one thing. Open rolling, where the parents get to see, not parents, open rolling where the kids get to practice what they're doing. Right? So they've been taught how to do takedown. They get a chance to really try it. Right? Even if it doesn't work, perfect. They get feedback of why it doesn't work. So them two are the main things. The other one is, and this is my, because of my personality and the way I am, right? I don't like authoritative coaches that demand respect. I think respect is something that should be earned, right? Through friendship, through trust. Right? I don't think just because I'm the coach, you should respect me. I think because I'm the coach, right? We start off on an equal level. I say this to my adults quite a bit. Right? We start off on an equal level. I respect you, you respect me. Yeah. And then it's yours to lose and mine to lose. Yeah. Right? So if I do something which is shady, just because I'm coach, don't ignore it. You call me out on it. Yeah. Right? But if you do something wrong, right, expect me to call you out on it. Works both ways, right? Works both ways. And I believe that's how friendship, trust, and respect should work.
I couldn't agree more, and I think at our club in particular, there's a big emphasis. And I think each club has a culture of how the head coach generally is, and I think knowing yourself now, I know you're very much big on respect, and so am I, and that filters through to the kids and the culture of the club itself. So going back to my question, the culture is very much important, and I think in our club, the way you do it, it gives them a very kind of openness to see. I mean, we've got parents are like experiencing 4D video. They've got the sound, they've got the sweat going on them. They're so up close to the mats. It's a great experience for them to see their kids rolling. So that openness is massive, and not all clubs do that, I'm guessing.
No, they don't. There are clubs which force you to leave, right? And that's so you can't really check the culture of the club now, right? Like, so the child isn't someone who can assess the culture of the club. They're still a child. The culture of the club needs to be assessed by a parent. Right? So is my child fitting in here? Right? So I think it's super important for parents to be there. They don't have to be there all the time. Sometimes they have stuff to do, but be there for a while. Make sure, at the start especially, make sure that the fit is right. That it's working. So I think that's super important. Make sure
let me ask you a question directly as a coach. What role does a coach have in helping individuals who are getting bullied or doing the bullying?
So two differently, right? So let's go being bullied now. Right? So they see someone who has answers. Now, I can't fix that situation immediately. Right? I wish I could. I wish I could go down, find the bully, clip him on the ear, say, you do that again, I'm coming back. I wish I could do that. But that land me in a lot of trouble. So I can't do that. But for the bully to see somebody who, through hard work and determination, has got to where myself and the other coaches have got to, give them an aspiration. Well, look, I can be like that. Yeah. And one thing that I tell everyone is, and I say openly, I'm not overly athletic or overly strong or overly anything. Yeah. I'm just someone who is stubborn and persistent, and I didn't give up over the years. It's why it took me so long to get my black belt. Yeah. The average in the UK is 13 years. Took me 20 odd years to get
But
it.
you did have a bit of a break in
Took a
between as
massive
well.
break.
Yeah.
Took a massive break because
Yeah.
life comes up, right? So that's one of the things that as a kid being bullied
Yeah.
helps. The other one is the environment. Right? The environment of other, we talked about the warrior spirit.
Yeah.
Right? It helps instill that warrior spirit in them when they're surrounded by other kids who have that warrior spirit.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. In terms of someone being bullied, the checks and balances in place in a jiu-jitsu gym that stop that happening now they see firsthand that actually, you know what, that behavior is not acceptable. I shouldn't do that. When we talk about a lot about when it's not about just me, we're in a society where I come first.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're talking about our motto, right? The community first.
Yeah.
Right? When I'm looking to bring something good for me, I look to see does my brother have it,
Yeah.
and I'll bring it up for them as well. Right? If I've got something, why hasn't he got it? And it's a belief of mine that we've lost that spirit in our community.
Yeah. We did mention this in the origin story,
Yeah.
which is one of our very first episodes. It's a great watch. Check that out on Barber's Origin. There we cover a lot of emotional topics. Definitely check it out.
Yeah. So it's something that I truly believe we lost. And one of the reasons why I'm still doing this after so long is community spirit doesn't come back straight away.
No.
It takes time.
Yeah.
But like I said, I've been at it for 15 years
Yeah.
and I'll keep going.
Be at it for another 50.
If I have permission by Allah, I'll do it for another
Inshallah.
15. Eh?
Inshallah. No, so that's thank you for the insight and the experiences there, Barbara. So we've covered a massive kind of very sensitive topic here, guys. You know, bullying. I want to leave you with a few takeaways. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a great tool for your children, even yourself as adults, if you need to, when you experience some kind of mental, online, cyberbullying, physical, whatever. It's a great tool to alleviate that kind of feeling of loneliness, of not belonging to anything. It's check it out if your kid is experiencing any kind of bullying, and also that if you find that your child is a bully themselves, it's also a great place, as coaches explained, to kind of give them a sense of belonging, to give them that kind of that authoritative figure, who they someone they can aspire to be like, or a role model, for example. So it's a great tool to help both sides of the spectrum, the bully and the bullied. Let us know if you've had any experiences where you have been bullied, you've been to a certain class and you've had that feeling of completeness, of confidence. Also, a last thought to leave you with is if you find that your child is an introvert, is quiet, there's no need for them to be very loud. It doesn't mean that they are not worthy of anything. It is just the way they are. Confidence and being loud doesn't mean you're confident. Look at Coach Bob, for example. He's a self kind of acclaimed introvert, and he's one of the most confident people I know. So again, guys, thanks for covering, watching us and listening to what we say. We really do appreciate it. Watch out for our next episode as well.
One thing left to do, Mr. Tubsy.
Whoosh.